If we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree. If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals, and they could talk to me.
Hello and welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program about the Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center. My guest today is our director, Laura Chavarria. Hi, Laura.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you back. It's the new year. January 2014 is already here. Hard to believe.
It is.
The new year always brings fresh ideas to all of us, I think, and planning and some of the things we've been talking about in the office about what we'd like to do in 2014 are coming from you, most of them, and I thought it would be fun to talk about a little reflection on 2013 and look forward to next year, or the new year. Now we're in it. Look at the new year. You came on in July. Now tell me just what's your overall, how's your first 6 months been on the job?
It's really flown by. You know how you plan out, okay, the first month I'm going to do this, the second month this is my benchmark. My plans have just gone to the wayside because you kind of put out fires as they come. So it's been great. The community has been very welcoming. We've had great adoption successes. Staff has been very good at rolling with the punches because, you know, change is hard for everybody. So I think the past 6 months has flown by, and I'm really looking forward to the next year, and I can't believe it's 2014.
I know. It has gone quickly. I know that in the building itself, if people have been over there, we've completely changed the look of the front lobby and put up a new adoption area in the front where we have our two adoption counselors who kind of serve as receptionists to the public as well. And that's been very successful. And we've put up films of our dogs and cats on a nice TV up screen behind the desk. And I think that's done so much because people look up there and see the wonderful success stories of the snapshots we take, which is one of the most fun parts of our job.
No, I think it makes staff happy too because, you know, you see pictures up there of before and after or success stories, and it just feels like a more warmer atmosphere and welcoming. We finished the cat porch as well, so now the cats can go out and play, and there's new ramps and things for them to get up at higher levels, and cats like to pounce, and so it's fun to go out there and also see the cats play. So I think in addition to the lobby, I mean, there's been a lot of building improvements. There's still room for improvement. You know, I think we want to paint the walls and things like that. But the TV I think, has been the hit of the past couple months.
It has, and it is a lot of fun when somebody adopts and you say, "Can I take your picture?" And we usually put those on Facebook daily, and it's great to see who our pets end up with.
Yes.
And people always have a smile on their face. It's a great moment, and it's what we strive for every day, is adoptions.
Yeah.
That is our goal.
I don't know who is happiest, the staff member or the adopter or the animal. So it's always, that's what makes our job worth it, seeing those animals go into loving homes.
Yeah, that is true. Now, a little bit about staff development. I know you've been to a couple of professional seminars to try to deal with new subjects in the industry of shelter. Tell us what is the buzz in the shelter industry?
The new thing is moving to be a more welcoming center. They say a lot of people shy away from going to a shelter because they feel like either they're not welcome or it's a depressing area. So we're trying to move forward with being a welcoming, happy, joyful area where people can meet their new family member. I went to the ACAT seminar in October, which was fantastic. You get around people from the state that are in this career, and you learn tools that work for them and tools that you can bring back in the shelter. One thing was the trap, neuter, release program. So you kind of learn how to reach out to the community and get that started. That was one thing that we learned. We're also doing an ASPCA sponsored felinality and caninality testing for the animals that we put up into adoptions. And for people that don't know what that is, basically it's categorizing the animals by their personality. So it helps us match the potential adopter to the animal. So if you have a dog that's very athletic, you want to match it up to a family that's either got, you know, kids or that's very active. So I think that's really helped out. We're trying to utilize training now in these months that we're slower, knock on wood, So training always helps, and further education goes a long way. So those are the things that I think really inspire staff to raise the bar at the shelter.
And along with the adoption process, we've also developed a way to interview the families that come in
Yes.
conjunction with the testing we've already done on the cat or dog,
Yes.
so that we match them up with what they really want. Do they want a couch potato kind of
Right.
animal, or do they want a dog that'll run and catch balls, or a cat that keeps to itself, or a cat that's very friendly and wants to be petted all the time?
Right, and it's a family decision. We're seeing a change from, one person coming in from the household and making maybe a rash decision just to adopt because they feel like they want to save a life. Now it's changing to a family decision, a lifetime commitment, which is good because it's reducing the amount of animals coming back after being adopted. So it's really been successful.
And we have several outdoor areas for
Yes.
interaction. For cats, we have the cat porch and another cat interaction room. And for dogs, we have a puppy play area outside. We have a dog play area, and we have various walks and paths. And a lot of people actually bring the animals they already have up to meet
Right.
the possible new family
Because
member.
that's a huge part of it, making sure that their new pet gets along with. Usually, most people that adopt from us already have an animal, so they want to make sure that they mesh well. So they'll bring them and do a meet and greet, and that's always nice to see. Their new sibling get along. So
Yeah, it is, and we do have quite a welcoming environment there, and I feel like it's very positive when people come through the
Yes.
door. They often comment about how great the experience has been when they've come there for a visit. Procedure-wise at the shelter, I know you've implemented some new things along the way this year, including the formalization of some of the fines and rules that have to be followed by the people in our community. What is the
Yes.
most common incident that we have?
I would say running at large is a big one. People are active these days, and they tend to leave their homes, and sometimes the animals get loose for one reason or another. So we see those animals come through the doors, and it's a huge educational piece. We don't want to just be the enforcement side of it. We want to be able to educate people to ensure that doesn't happen again, whether it's invisible fence or bark collars or whatever issue they're having. We're there to try to give them other options to alleviate this situation happening again. So I think the running at large is an issue. Now that it's colder, we don't see that as much, but in the summer, it's quite common.
And we have had surges of kittens a couple of
Yes.
times this year, and some of those are expected with seasonal,
Yeah.
and then some are unexpected. And when that does happen, we get at capacity. What have you done to try to alleviate the overcrowding?
We try to work closely with rescues and fosters with overcrowding, and then we also try to work with the adoption fee. So we try to reduce the fees to get people through the doors. We've done buy one, get one cat free. We've done $20 adoption fees. It's really helped. It's brought people from other counties where maybe their adoption fees are over $100. And our adoption fees include fully vaccinated, microchip, spaying and neutering, so it's a really good deal. So that's one avenue we try to get people through the doors to help alleviate the overcapacity.
Now, we brought a new veterinarian on board this year,
Yes.
and she has been great, and disease prevention is an issue sometimes in shelters. Tell us about Dr. Birch and your impression of her.
She is fantastic. I can say that she's the rookie and I'm not anymore because she's only been there for four months, but she is fantastic. I think the volunteers and staff just love her. It's really boosted morale because she is so proactive in treatment. Every animal that comes through the door, if there's something that a staff member sees it's an issue, whether it's, they're itching their fur, they're missing fur, they're coughing, we'll do a vet check request form on there. So she'll do rounds every day, assess that animal, and start medicating immediately. I think that wasn't something that was done in the past, and it's really helped us be able to adopt out healthy animals. So she's very proactive, and she's very positive. So I think that really is inspirational to staff, and it really boosts morale, and that's the biggest thing that we needed.
Now, part of our staff are animal control officers who have vehicles that answer calls in the community. Most of the time, they're calls about dogs running at large, as you mentioned. Sometimes in the winter, there's concern about an animal that a citizen might call in and say, I believe these dogs are cold and don't have a shelter. What is the basic requirement in the winter, well, for shelter for a pet at your home?
Food, water, and shelter. If you're tethering them outside, you have to provide food, water, and shelter. The water has to not be frozen. It has to be palatable, so it can't be green. It has to be changed out regularly. The food has to be nutritious, so it can't be filled with dirt. It can't have, worms or bugs in it. And then the shelter has to have 3 walls, a roof, and a floor, so that the animal's not laying in the dirt. So those are the minimum requirements that we require. If anybody sees an animal tethered outside, especially with the lower temperatures, please don't hesitate to call the shelter. We take every call seriously, and we'll investigate it to the fullest that we can. And again, it's an education piece. If we go out there, even if, it is tethered with the minimum requirements, we will still go out and educate and see if it's spayed and neutered and up to date on rabies vaccines. So it's very important for people to call in if there is an issue.
Right, and most people do take excellent care of their animals, and it is a rare exception, but we have had tragic cases of animals dying in the cold who've been left or neglected and didn't have any shelter. And the shelter can be anything from a doghouse to a barn to a storage building that they have access to, a safe storage building, a porch. And in the winter months, many dogs are fine outside with a form of shelter. It's always good to throw in a blanket in the colder months or hay.
Correct.
From like the co-op, just go buy some hay, or most people that have property would have access to something like that. I think it's pine. Is it pine straw or?
There's pine chips, and then there's straw or hay that you can use, and it's fairly cheap. It just creates that buffer, kind of like a nest environment for the animal to get warm.
Right, so. And never put a light bulb or a heater of any kind out with your animals.
No.
Because that can cause a fire, and you won't know if the animal's outside and you're inside. Yeah. What about cats? Are they susceptible to cold weather, or do they seem to find themselves a place to nest that's warm and cozy?
They're resilient and very smart. I think they can kind of hibernate, excuse me, and find a warm area.
Right, so barn cats seem to take care of themselves in many ways. This past year, I know we had 46 outside adoption events, and there are only 52 weeks in a year, so we had very few down weekends that we weren't busy going out to events in the community. We had a very successful set up at 5 Points in downtown Franklin on this really interesting conjunction with Pumpkin Fest. We set up there. We had a great day, and people got to see our mobile adoption unit, and we've been to many pet stores in the area. We have relationships with businesses, restaurants, and others who like to give a portion of their profits to us, which is a wonderful thing, and we'd love to increase that. And I think one of the things that I was told was last month, well, I believe it was the month of November, we actually had more adoptions at the shelter than we had intake.
Yes.
Which is a wonderful statistic that has not occurred in quite a while.
No, I don't think it's occurred ever. We had 233 adoptions and 232 animals that were taken in during that month. So it was very successful.
Wow, and it's a testament to the fact that people always ask me, well, how many dogs and cats are up there? And I go, well, what time is it? Because, 5 or 6 were adopted today, but 5 or 6 may have come in the back door. So it's a constant flow through. Right. Well, I want to go to a break now, and when we come back, we'll talk more about our visions for 2014.
If we want to keep the blue in the sky, the green in the trees, we better care for the air we breathe, that it would truly be a breath of fresh air when we all can see.
Welcome back to Pet Watch, and my guest today is the Director of Williamson County Animal Control, Laura Chavarria. Laura, I'd like to talk about our visions for 2014, now that the new year is here. We have several relationships that the shelter has entered into with Rescue Wagon, which comes about once a month.
Yes.
And we continue that in 2014.
Yes, that's through PetSmart, and they are fantastic. We transport animals, especially when we're over capacity, up to northern states that have mandatory spay-and-neuter laws, and I know it's hard to envision, but they don't have animals to put up for adoption because of the strict mandatory spay-and-neuter laws. So we transport sometimes up to 3 times a month in the summer months, but yeah, in January, February, we do it once a month. So we have a great working relationship with them.
That's a wonderful program. It's a great day when the rescue wagon comes, because it's wonderful to know that there are actually people waiting to find animals to adopt in certain areas. So it is hard to believe, but that's the way the system works. And it's a hole that Rescue Wagon, the PetSmart Charities program, has filled, which has been wonderful. For the tendency for an overabundance of animals seems to be in the South, and the northern states seem to have a shortage. So that's great. We've worked out a balance between the two, and it benefits all the animals as well as the shelter. We'll also continue our close relationship with our neighbors at Mars.
Yes.
So we are in the Mars Feeding Project program, in which the Mars, whose headquarters happens to be located here, is the maker of many lines of pet food, including pedigree. And our dogs eat that pedigree food, and because of that, they have excellent nutrition while they're in the shelter, sometimes better than where they were, or if they were strays, where they came from.
Right.
In the wild, they may have been fending for themselves, and now they're in the shelter eating a wonderful pedigree diet. So we're indebted to the Mars group for that.
They do Whiskas as well for the cats. So it's huge, and it saves the taxpayers money, and it helps the budget because we don't have to pay for that food, and we can focus those other funds into spay and neuter and other programs for the community. So it's win-win all around.
That's great. And I think we were one of the first 2 or 3 shelters in the United States to be chosen to participate. So, and Mars, of course, is expanding their presence in this area and is opening a multi-million-dollar pet research facility in Spring Hill, and we're looking forward to that. It's just wonderful to have such a high level of pet food manufacturer have its headquarters here, and it opens many doors for us.
It does.
And they have events which we participate in, and we have events that they come to. So we love to see them and everything that they do, and they actually provide starter kits.
Yes, adoption kits, and they so that way, they're already getting fed pedigree or Whiskas, and that way if the owner wants to continue providing a nutritious balance for the animal, they can continue that. Or if they want to change it, they can slowly, integrate the food so that it doesn't cause digestion issues. Mars staff members also do give back days in the community, so they come and they did a wonderful sensory garden at the shelter, which is great because they plant herbs and spices and things like that when the dogs go out and walk, it makes them feel calm, and so they really do a lot for the community. We can't say enough good things about Mars.
That's wonderful. Another program that we've always had is our community rabies clinics. We have a large number in the spring and a smaller number in the fall, and that program will continue, and our viewers should watch for releases about the April.
Yes,
it'll be in April this year.
Usually it's end of March, early April. The rabies shots are $10, and we do them all over the county, and hopefully we'll do them again at the shelter as well. We started that in the fall, but we usually have a really good reception from the county, and it's a great deal for people to come out and bring their pets to get them up to date on their rabies shot.
And we couldn't do it without all the veterinary clinics that participate from one corner of the county to the other. And these are kind of parking lot events where you drive up with your pets and bring the $10 per animal, and the veterinarian in that area who happens to be working that day administers that and gives you your license tag for the next year.
Yes.
So it's good to get into a habit of going to the community rabies clinic or your veterinarian at a certain month of the year and mark it on your calendar so that your animal is always protected, because that tag is important and needs to be up to date, because that is required by state law, is it not? The rabies?
Yes, it is. It's required by state law. And it's good just for the health of your animal to be up to date on rabies, just in case it comes into contact with wildlife or another animal. That way you have that peace of mind knowing that your animal is current and can get rabies.
And if your animal should ever come in contact with another person or a neighbor, then you also have proof that your animal has been vaccinated against rabies, which is quite important. There are a larger number of preventative vaccinations that cats and dogs do need, so it's not a substitute for going to your veterinarian at least once a year to get those things. and to deal with the other vaccinations and to learn about heartworm preventative and all of that. But we just provide the rabies, and the community seems to appreciate it.
Yes, we already have people calling saying, when's the next clinic? So as long as people keep their eyes and ears peeled for late March, early April, we'll be doing the clinics again.
We'll probably be able to release those dates first week of March, I would think.
Okay.
So watch for that in the newspaper and on our Facebook page, which is really the best way to stay in touch with us because we love Facebook. It's so timely, and we can just put things up on a daily basis, and we always have good stories to tell. We have a number of local rescue groups that we continue to work with.
Yes.
When a pet comes in of a certain breed, there's usually a rescue organization dedicated to that breed. There's the Jack Russell group, which you mentioned to me off camera. They come pick up a Jack Russell puppy if we have one, or the Greyhound Rescue Group. So there are a number of places for wonderful animals to go to people who have a great love for a certain breed.
And they too, they have, people on waiting lists, so they can definitely make a perfect match between the animal and the adopter. And there's big fluffy dog rescue, so you have some that just aren't breed specific, but certain type of dogs. There are cat rescues that we do work with, and they definitely are a huge help when it comes to being over capacity. And just having that great relationship is nice to have in the community.
Now, we also started a program at the juvenile court with Judge Sharon Guffey.
Yes.
She decided that it might be peaceful and helpful for animals to be in the courtroom, and we've had great success taking dogs there. Sometimes children are involved in court cases, and it's stressful for the family during those moments, and the dogs provide a wonderful relief from that.
They do. I have yet to go. Mark is usually the one to get to do all the spoils, so hopefully next time I can go and actually see how positive that is. I've seen pictures of the dog in court and the kids huddled around it, so it's very fulfilling.
It is, and the dog laying back on its back and the kids rubbing its belly takes their mind off of whatever's going on in the courtroom between the adults, and it's a wonderful release for them. Another agency of the county we are looking forward to working with, or we have some ideas on working with the library.
Yes.
Maybe do some story times at the library where we would take animals. So that should be fun.
Yeah.
And I know they have lots of great ideas. People contact us all the time, don't they, about...
They do. And we're always open to doing other events and teaming up with different groups. You had mentioned that we did 46, adoption events last year, and we're always open to doing new ideas this year. But we're looking forward to the library because, again, it's reaching out to kids, and it can be education. You can read a book about a dog and then pet a dog. I mean, I think it's just going to be a really good melding of two agencies.
Right, and we do have other education programs and options that come up during the year. We have a lot of schools that call us and say, can you bring out a dog or cat and do a little education program about pet ownership? And it's wonderful to start the kids off at an early age understanding that pet ownership does take time, and it takes dedication, and it takes training, but it can be so rewarding. And I know we've taken large dogs to preschools that end up licking the kids right in the face.
And those make the best. Those make the best pictures, just because you see the animal happy and the kids happy. It's so heartwarming.
Now, at the shelter, what are some of your goals for 2014? What are some of the things you'd like to implement, or what's on your wish list?
My wish list, and again, I made up a plan for the last 6 months, and it didn't go to plan because things come up. But I always want to improve the adoption numbers. I always want to match up the perfect animal with the perfect family. So if I can come up with, we were talking about doing Meet Your Match and felinality and caninality, kind of fine-tuning those programs and making the adoption process streamlined and a little easier for both the adopter and the volunteers and the staff member. I think that's a huge goal of mine, as well as working with rescue groups and solidifying that relationship. And there's also building improvements I want to do because I think, there's always room for improvement to make it a happier environment. So those are, I think, the top three. And also getting out in the community and doing more of the adoption events and the educational piece. I think education is key. And even though we did 46 adoption events last year, hopefully we can do 52, 55, 60 this year. So
Right, and it's not just a Saturday that we have to have
Right.
an event where we bring animals. We've had events with restaurants on certain nights where we promoted eating at that restaurant, and they were willing to give a portion of their proceeds from that day. So if any of the local businesses would like have an idea, bring it to us.
we are open.
Yeah, we are open, and we've tried a lot of things. We've been at apartment complexes, we've been at public events, we've been
Coffee shops.
We've been in the Green Hills Mall, inside the Body Shop. We've been inside Anthropology on Main Street. Things that you would never have thought of,
Yep.
are all part of the process of educating the public. We also have worked toward expanding the dog adoption area, and there are 4 or 5 rooms at the shelter. They're used for different purposes, and when animals come in as strays or are under protective custody, they're kept in an area away from the public. But lately we've found, I think, that one of the secondary rooms can now may become part of dog adoption, and we may be
Yes.
expanding the permanent dog adoption area just a little bit. And we also installed new lighting last year in the cat area.
Yes, the sun tunnels, they're amazing. But by expanding the adoption area, hopefully we can get more animals out, get them exposed, and provide a more variety to the public.
Right, and behind the scenes, people don't realize that we're constantly shifting animals. Like today, certain dogs may come up at the end of their impoundment period, and no one's come to claim them. They need to move up to adoption, and sometimes we don't have a spot for them
Right.
in the public adoption room. So that's good that we're adding those kennels to that process, and it gives people more options, because
Right.
sometimes the very dog that might be their perfect match may be in the back, and we can't get it to the front that day. So that's going to be great. We'd also like to mention that if anybody has an idea for an adoption event, to please call us at the shelter at 790-5590. And we're located right next to Franklin High School. And one of the things that Laura has done this past year is come up with a theme for every month. And the theme for January is a Wizard of Oz theme. And I understand that's one of your favorite movies.
It is my favorite movie.
We don't have any flying monkeys, but
Thank God.
we are using the theme, There's No Place Like Home. So in January, you should be seeing that locally and in our signs and in our press releases. And there really is no place like home. The shelter is a temporary place, and the shorter time period an animal can be there, the better for the animal. So we're just a little way station, and we try to make it the best experience possible for both the adoptee and the animal while they're there. And people need to understand that the shelter is designed to be a short-term place where a final adoption occurs and an animal goes to a new home. I'd also like to remind our viewers that anytime you do any online shopping, you can go through adoptashelter.com, choose us as your shelter, and then do your shopping. And the companies that you shop with give us a percentage or a set dollar amount for every purchase you make. It is not charged to the customer. So adoptashelter.com is a great way. I think there are like 400 retailers there. I looked at it and I couldn't find one that I would normally shop at that wasn't on their list. So it's a quick and easy way. We also have a wish list on Amazon.com, and our website is part of the Williamson County website, but you can get to our page by going to adoptwcac.org. If you'd like to volunteer, we always need volunteers. At the top of that adoptwcac.org page, you'll see Volunteer Online. If you'll select that, it will tell you when the next class is going to be and how to participate in the orientation class for volunteers. We are upping the number of cat volunteers lately, and that's been a great thing. Walking dogs is just one of many jobs. It's not the only thing our volunteers do. We have a photographer who is fabulous, who volunteers his time. We have people who do graphics for us, and there's so many things you can do at this shelter. So I'd like to encourage you to participate as a member of the community and helping us keep the shelter to be the best one in America.
Yes.
I think that's our goal, is it
Yes.
not? Thank you, Laura, for being
Thank
with
you.
us, and I hope you'll join us again next month on Pet Watch.
If I could talk to the animals, just imagine it, chatting with a chimp and chimpanzee. imagine talking to a tiger, chatting with a cheetah. What a neat achievement it would be if we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree. I'd study elephant and eagle, buffalo and beagle, alligator, guinea pig, and flea.